Welcome back to the show. Overnight, as part of a brokered ceasefire deal, the U.S. deal between Israel and Hamas, all 20 remaining Israeli hostages believed to be alive in Gaza were released and returned to Israel. President Trump, who is in Israel today, called it historic and declared the war is over. All right, joining us now is Washington NBC correspondent Alice Barr. Alice, welcome back to the show. President Trump has addressed the Israeli parliament regarding the news. How was his speech received?
Yeah, he received a standing ovation off the top for a long time, and then at several points throughout the speech as well. It was a lengthy address, near on to an hour, that he gave to the Knesset, the Israeli legislature. And the way that he was received there is of a piece with what we've seen across the country, where there have been signs displayed, banners, a huge sort of beach art sign as well, all thanking President Trump for his central role in brokering this peace between Israel and Hamas. It's a phase one peace deal right now, but one that has allowed the hostages to come home, and that has just brought so much relief and joy across Israel. President Trump, in his speech, said that he believes that this is the historic dawn of a new era of the Middle East, and that generations from now, he says, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change for the better. Also notable that toward the end of his address, he called for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to be pardoned. He has been under indictment, and that's been a major source of contention in Israel. And he called for that investigation essentially to be ended. So that was an interesting moment as well.
Mm-hmm. The president also taking some time to go to Jerusalem to meet with families of hostages. Can you describe for us, Alice, if you can, the reaction from these families?
Well, that is the heart and soul of this entire experience that we've been seeing today. These families who have been waiting 2 years, more than 2 years since October 7th, the terrible Hamas attacks then, to see their family come home. And we have seen, yes, the president sitting down with members of the hostage families, but more to the point, we've seen these videos starting to come through of mothers hugging their sons, fathers hugging sons, various family members just overcome with emotion and gripping on to these young men who have been underground, essentially, for the past 2 years. I would say overall they look pale. The ones that I have been able to see don't look as emaciated as some past releases that we have seen of hostages, and that has got to be a relief. But there's no question that there was a very long road to recovery for these hostages after what they've endured over the past 2 years.
The deal is part of a first phase, what's being called a first phase in a much larger peace deal. What should we be watching for over the next 24 to 48 hours as this agreement plays out?
Right. So this phase one agreement between Israel and Hamas is the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners, and that has been happening as well. Hundreds of prisoners being released in exchange for these 20, while the fighting pauses and Israeli forces pull back to new lines within Gaza and desperately needed aid flows in. But there are much thornier questions to still be worked out about Hamas disarming, leaving power, and then how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians are flooding back to whatever remains of their homes, sadly ruins in most instances. President Trump is going to be joining in a peace ceremony and a peace summit in Egypt today, where there will be some 20 heads of state joining in, including Arab leaders who've been critical to the negotiations and to helping rebuild Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel declined an invitation to join that summit. We do expect the leader of the Palestinian Authority is going to be there. And again, it's in an effort to try to chart the way forward, including this international board of peace that would oversee reconstruction in Gaza. We also have yet to see all of the remains of Israeli hostages who did not survive be returned home. So we're waiting for that as well. Chesley.
All right, Alice, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the insight today.